Last night, the Raw women's locker room probably thought they had the next 4 weeks completely mapped out. Title defenses, maybe a couple of trade rumors, perhaps a harmless 6-woman tag match to fill some time. You know, business as usual. Then, without warning, the arena went black. A deep, unsettling heartbeat sound throbbed through the speakers, and the woman nobody even knew was cleared for action just marched through the curtain like she'd never left a single step. 30 seconds later, one security guard was flat on his back, 2 commentators were screaming their lungs out, and every single phone in the building lit up Twitter with the exact same 4 words. "Roxanne is back!" It wasn't just a return, it was an absolute earthquake, shaking the foundation of what we thought we knew about the women's division. Picture this, the main event segment, lights blazing, Women's World Champion Io Sky standing tall, basking in the glory after retaining her title against a valiant Zelina Vega. Pyro explodes, a graphic flashes "Road to Royal Rumble," and the crowd's ready to head home, buzzing but satisfied. Suddenly, the Tron glitches, a jarring static washing over the screen. Then, that unmistakable chilling guitar lick from her old NXT theme blares out, and the LED boards bleed crimson, painting the arena in a sinister red glow. And there she was. Perez steps out, not in her familiar vibrant gear, but in matte black, tactical-looking attire with crimson piping. No Judgment Day logos, no goofy backstage skits, just a cold, intense stare that could freeze hot coffee. She slides into the ring with a predatory grace, ducks Sky's desperate spin kick with lightning-fast reflexes, and nails a basement Rana that dumps the champ right on her neck. The crowd erupts, a mix of shock and pure adrenaline. Perez grabs the mic, her voice low and dangerous, and delivers 2 ice-cold sentences. "You moved my name down the list. I just erased yours." The lights cut again, plunging the arena back into darkness, and the crowd loses its collective mind, a cacophony of cheers and gasps. Michael Cole, bless his heart, yells, "This is not scheduled," for what felt like the 15th time, perfectly capturing the chaos. The entire segment, a blistering 91 seconds, WWE's YouTube clip of that moment already had 2 million loops before 3 a.m. The raw, visceral impact of her arrival was immediate and undeniable. Let's add a little context to why this particular shock resonated so deeply. Just 2 months ago, Perez took a stiff knee from Lyra Valkyria on a Raw in Denver. The official report? A minor cervical tweak. Then, she vanished. WWE.com listed her as indefinite, a term that usually signals a long, uncertain road to recovery. Fans, ever the optimists, assumed she was quietly rehabbing in Orlando, following the standard main roster mystery box protocol. But here's where the story gets interesting. Dave Meltzer, the wrestling oracle, reported that WWE Medical hadn't even put her on the official injury report. The real reason for her absence? Creative simply had nothing for her. Can you believe that? A talent like Roxanne Perez, sidelined not by injury but by a lack of ideas. Meanwhile, online sleuths, those dedicated digital detectives, noticed something peculiar. She quietly removed Judgment Day member from her Instagram bio, replacing it with a cryptic hourglass emoji. Then the breadcrumbs continued. She started tweeting photos of airplane windows, hinting at travel but never revealing a destination. The dirt sheet consensus, the collective wisdom of the internet's wrestling pundits, was clear. She's getting repackaged, probably as a babyface, probably after the Royal Rumble. Everyone thought they had her figured out. Nobody, and I mean literally nobody, predicted a full-blown heel blast on the night after Christmas, catching everyone off guard. Add to that the fact she's only 23 years old, already the youngest Triple Crown champ in NXT history, and had never even laid a finger on the main roster women's title. The timing of this return doesn't just feel significant. It feels like WWE just yanked the emergency brake on the entire division, slamming everything to a halt and forcing a hard reset. This wasn't just a surprise, It was a deliberate, calculated strike that rewrites the future. Look closer at the details of that return, because every single element was meticulously crafted. She completely ditched the colorful half-cape from her NXT days, a symbol of her prodigy persona. Instead, she emerged in tactical cargo pants and kick pads that, let's be honest, bore a striking resemblance to the Bloodline colors. Coincidence? Maybe. But in WWE, every visual cue tells a story. What about the music? She came out to a slowed-down, almost sinister remix of her old theme. Production pitched it down 3 semitones, added distorted claps, and looped a haunting heartbeat kick underneath. That's not just a new entrance, that's a statement. That's the same trick they used for Sasha Banks' surprise return in 2021. WWE only breaks out that level of production overhaul for "this is different, this is important" moments. And notice who she attacked. It wasn't the usual target, Rhea Ripley, who most would expect given their past association with Judgment Day. No, she went straight for Io Sky, the women's world champion. That's smart. Rhea's already deeply entrenched in the Judgment Day story, a narrative Perez has clearly detached herself from. Going directly after the champ signals her intent. She's not here for nostalgia pops. She's not here to rekindle old alliances. She's here for gold, plain and simple. And that line she dropped, "You moved my name down the list. I just erased yours." That screams backstage resentment, doesn't it? It's the classic angle that blurs the lines between reality and storyline, making us wonder if there's a kernel of truth there. Is she mad creative benched her? Is she taking out that frustration on the division that seemingly forgot about her? It's a powerful narrative, suggesting a deep-seated anger that's been simmering just below the surface. This isn't the Roxanne Perez we knew. This is something far more dangerous. So, what happens now that the dust has settled? Or rather, now that the crimson smoke has cleared? First, Io Sky's reign just got an instant, much-needed shot of adrenaline. For a little while, she's been coasting, holding her own but against challengers that, let's be honest, many fans regarded as placeholders. Perez versus Sky at the Royal Rumble? That's money. You've got a dynamic striker against a high flyer, both under 25, both capable of delivering a 20-minute show stealer that could steal the whole night. The stakes are instantly higher, the narrative more compelling. Second, poor Zelina Vega just became collateral damage. She was passionately lobbying for a rematch against Io, a chance to reclaim what she felt was hers. Now, she's probably 4th on the depth chart, maybe even lower, her championship aspirations suddenly dwarfed by this new, dominant force. Her path to the title just got significantly harder, if not completely blocked. Third, Rhea Ripley, the seemingly untouchable women's world champion, suddenly looks vulnerable. If Perez manages to beat Sky, Rhea's carefully constructed program with Nia Jax could get completely sidetracked by the inevitable "who's the real face of Raw" debate. The women's division now has 2 top-tier heels, both with legitimate claims to dominance, and that creates an incredible tension. And what about the Judgment Day? They spent months hyping Perez as their sister, integrating her into their formidable ranks, only for her to ghost them without a word. You can bet Finn Balor, ever the eloquent villain, will cut a scathing promo, something along the lines of, "We gave you a family, Roxanne. We gave you purpose, and you gave us silence." That kind of friction doesn't just build, it explodes, setting up mixed tag possibilities, maybe even a chaotic 6-person tag match at WrestleMania. The division that felt predictable, perhaps even a little stale, just 48 hours ago now has 5 credible title contenders and absolutely 0 pecking order. It's a glorious, beautiful mess. The Royal Rumble is just 43 days away, folks. If Perez wins that belt, the floodgates don't just open, they absolutely burst. Imagine the possibilities. Perez versus Lyra Valkyria, a brutal rematch from their NXT Stand and Deliver Classic, now on the main roster with even higher stakes. Perez versus Becky Lynch, the ultimate passing of the generational torch narrative that WWE absolutely loves to tell. Or how about Perez versus Jade Cargill, a Haas versus Tech classic that would be an absolute spectacle. And because she's returned as such a vicious heel, fans will pay good money to see somebody dethrone her. Can you picture Bianca Belair returning from her hiatus, stepping up to answer an open challenge from Roxanne? The crowd would lose its mind when the EST's braid snaps across Perez's back, a moment of pure, unadulterated catharsis. WWE could stretch that program all the way to SummerSlam, building an epic rivalry, and let's not ignore the tag team possibilities. Raquel Rodriguez still considers Perez a friend, right? One awkward backstage segment where Raquel offers help, only for Perez to superkick her for the cheap heat, and boom, you've got a WrestleMania-worthy tag title match with Damage Cuttrell defending against the Broken Partnership. The women's division, which has been yearning for some sustained, unpredictable chaos, finally has it back, reminiscent of the electric Sasha-Charlotte feud era. This isn't just about one wrestler, it's about a whole new landscape of possibilities. All right, your turn. Who do you want to see Roxanne wrestle first? Sky at the Rumble, Ripley in a non-title thriller, or a straight-up ladder war with Becky? Drop your dream match in the comments below. Argue respectfully, and I'll pin the wildest suggestion. How in the world did WWE manage to keep this whole thing under wraps? In the age of constant leaks and social media whispers, pulling off a surprise of this magnitude is practically a miracle. Fightful reports that Perez stayed completely off the road, trained exclusively at the Performance Center in the dead of night. We're talking 2 a.m. sessions, and even used a rental car registered under a ghost name to avoid detection. The internal code for the entire angle was Project Hourglass, and only 9 people within the company were reportedly privy to the details. Her entrance music. It was cryptically labeled Production Track 9 in the arena's audio cue, a generic placeholder to fool anyone looking at the run sheet. They even went as far as having the live broadcast truck receive the feed 10 seconds late, giving the switcher a crucial window to dump the shot if anything leaked prematurely. Think about that level of operational security. That's more cloak and dagger than they used for Cody Rhodes' monumental return at WrestleMania 38. And it absolutely paid off. Google Trends spiked 800% in the immediate aftermath of her return. The clip outperformed every WWE social post since The Rock's shocking SmackDown return. And betting sites? They actually suspended women's world title odds for 3 agonizing hours because Insider Cash slammed Perez the moment she appeared, signaling the unexpected shift. Vegas always seems to know, doesn't it? Except this time, they didn't. The success of the secrecy itself became a part of the story, elevating the impact of her return to legendary status. Let's zoom out for a moment and consider the larger picture. Roxanne Perez already possesses a resume that people twice her age are still chasing. She was the youngest women's breakout tournament winner, a 2-time NXT Women's Champion, an NXT Women's Tag Team Champion, and the first ever Women's Dusty Classic finalist. She's achieved so much, so fast. But let's be honest, main roster success, that true breakout moment, had somewhat eluded her. She'd been stuck in that frustrating prospect tier, full of potential but not quite breaking through to the elite. A decisive win over Io Sky, especially in such a dramatic fashion, rockets her instantly into that rarefied atmosphere alongside names like Becky, Charlotte, and Bianca. The kind of rarefied air where merch numbers jump, media tours follow, and you become a household name. More importantly, if she captures that title, she becomes the first Hispanic woman to hold WWE's top Raw Women's title, a significant milestone that WWE will undoubtedly market aggressively, especially during Hispanic Heritage Month. This isn't just about a championship, it's about breaking barriers and setting new precedents. And even if she loses, it's still incredibly beneficial. The rub of main eventing a Big Four pay-per-view against one of the best workers alive only adds gloss to her already impressive resume. Either way, the WWE protections are off. She's not a kid being shielded anymore. She's a headline act, ready to carry the weight of the division. Come spring, the annual WWE draft could shuffle everything we know about the roster, and Roxanne Perez's position will be a crucial factor. SmackDown's women's division is currently paper-thin, especially after Rhea Ripley moved to Raw, leaving a noticeable void at the top. If Perez captures the Raw title and entrenches herself as the division's new queen, WWE won't risk moving her. That effectively locks the Raw Women's Championship on the red brand, likely through SummerSlam, meaning SmackDown's hopefuls, the likes of Charlotte Flair, Asuka, and even the potentially returning Naomi, must pivot. Their championship aspirations would either shift to the women's tag titles or force interbrand feuds, creating a dynamic tension across both shows. Conversely, if creative wants to swerve us, which they often do, imagine this. Perez drops the belt back to Sky at Elimination Chamber, perhaps due to some nefarious Judgment Day interference, then jumps to SmackDown in the draft with a burning grudge. Instant, fresh matchups, a whole new set of rivalries, and fresh commentary narratives for the blue brand. The flexibility she provides, the ability to instantly elevate any division she's in, is precisely why WWE fast-tracked her, even after her supposed injury. She's a game-changer, no matter which brand she calls home. I monitored Twitter for a solid 90 minutes post-return, and the data was fascinating. The top emotions: shock, clocking in at 42%, pure joy at 31%, and a surprising 12% expressing concern for Io Sky. The memes, as always, wrote themselves. Clips of Thanos snapping his fingers with Perez's face superimposed, side-by-sides of her bright-eyed 2022 NXT pose versus the new, sinister smirk. It was a digital goldmine of reactions. Notably, female indie prospects and current WWE stars like Indy Hartwell and Gigi Dolan were tweeting fire emojis and messages of awe. Clear evidence that the locker room sees her not as a rookie, but as a peer, a legitimate force. WWE's own poll, asking, "Did Roxanne surprise you?" garnered 87,000 votes, with a staggering 91% saying yes. To put that in perspective, that's higher than the reaction poll for CM Punk's monumental return. Translation: both casual fans and the most hardcore wrestling aficionados were completely blindsided and utterly hooked. This wasn't just a moment. It was a phenomenon, a collective gasp felt across the entire wrestling world. Tonight, Raw is in Pittsburgh, and let me tell you, tickets on StubHub quadrupled overnight. The buzz is palpable. Betting sites have already reopened, with Perez now a -180 favorite to leave with the title before Valentine's Day. The promo writes itself, doesn't it? Sky will demand respect, Perez will inevitably interrupt, drop the mic without saying a word, and just stare. No words needed. The imagery alone will carry the segment. After that, the Royal Rumble card feels alive again, vibrant with new possibilities. The Women's Rumble match now has a compelling storyline backbone. Whoever wins could challenge either champion, opening up a world of narrative options. And WrestleMania season, which sometimes feels like it struggles to find its footing early on, finally has that breakout angle WWE has been lacking since the emotional dissolution of Sami Zayn and the Bloodline. Roxanne Perez holds the hourglass, and she just flipped it upside down, signaling that time is running out for anyone standing in her way. So, to recap, a perfectly executed secret return, a new vicious streak that's both captivating and terrifying, a title picture blown wide open, and a women's division that finally feels dangerous and unpredictable again. Make sure you're watching Monday, because Roxanne Perez doesn't do courtesy warnings, she just strikes. If you dug this breakdown, smash that subscribe button, hit the bell so you don't miss our Royal Rumble preview show, and drop one word in the comments describing your reaction when that music hit. Mine's goosebumps.